Imagine you and your family are peacefully at home. The children are playing and the parents are smiling with the joy of life. One day, a foreign gang pulls up and destroys everything you've ever loved, burning your family and home to the ground. That's what happened to the Jewish people when Jerusalem was destroyed. I'm on my way to the Kotel right now to experience a day of mourning that has been observed by Jews around the world for 1,954 years. It's not like a Memorial Day seen anywhere else. Today demonstrates the Jewish people's indigenous connection to the land of Israel, as we recall the catastrophe in which our entire society was demolished. We also pass down a crucial lesson for how to repair our civilization. The 9th day of the Hebrew month of Av, known as Tisha B'Av, is the date on which both the first and second temples in Jerusalem were destroyed by invading empires. All that remains today is the Western Wall, a small section of the protective barrier along the perimeter. The two Israelite temples were not just a place for Jews to pray, but the epicenter of our spiritual source that served to unite our nation and bring a higher level of consciousness to all of mankind. The historian Josephus, who lived at the time, recorded that over 1 million Jews were slaughtered during this destruction of Jerusalem that forced our people into exile. The streets flowed with blood, and the radiant light of the temple was extinguished. Although this took place 2 millennia ago, we descendants of the survivors of this massacre continue to humble ourselves by fasting, crying, tearing our clothing, and praying for the day when we will have the capacity to undo the damage. When Jews get married and break the glass, this symbolic shattering represents the temple and reminds us what was lost. The Hebrew scriptures that were passed down generation to generation from this horrific historical moment highlight one specific message that our ancestors wanted us to never forget. The Israelite society of that time had become fractured due to baseless hatred known as sinat chinam, meaning defamation and internal fighting. Jews had lost sight of their responsibility and respect towards one another, and their divisiveness made them susceptible to Roman attacks, which they were no longer strong enough to fend off. We see these same patterns repeating in modern times. Although the ancient sages of our nation are long gone, they still speak to us today through their writings. The lesson they impart most strongly on this day is ahavat chinam, unconditional love. Meaning, we don't have to agree with or approve of every Jew's choices and opinions, but we do have a requirement to accept them as part of our family and treat them with respect. This is the formula capable of reversing the tragedy we brought upon ourselves on Tisha B'Av, a prescription to usher in a level of unity that will enable us to push history forward. The Jewish people do not need to agree with each other on all political and religious matters in order for us to relate to each other with genuine intentions. Unity doesn't mean uniformity. There's a space for all opinions. Our arguments don't need to be used as attacks to mock and tear down, but rather can be reframed into tools to uplift each other and sharpen our collective vision for the future. While this mission may seem improbable to some, it is inevitable. When we finally implement this mindset of ahavat chinam, we will be on the path to restoring the temple, which will bring complete peace, alignment, and spiritual connection to all of humanity. The world is in chaos right now. Massive riots breaking out in the UK as people fight over identity, race, and religion. Massacres in Bangladesh. Full-scale war in the Middle East. The people of Israel are tasked with showing the world that unity is possible, to demonstrate how a nation can come together, past their differences, and provide a shining example for others to adopt. In a dark world, a message of light shines the brightest. We can achieve this by demonstrating our values, not by defending against false accusations and telling the world who we are not, but rather by showing them who we are. We all have the ability to be a part of this change and emit a message of light. Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel, stand up. We've become so hungry for external approval from others that many of the representatives talking about Israel on the world stage right now are not even Jews that are knowledgeable in their own identity. Are we so lacking in true Jewish leaders that we need righteous Gentiles to speak on our behalf? Do they truly represent us? We have our own voice, our own story, and our own dream for the world. This year's Tisha B'Av is the wake-up call we all need. Our time is now.